How's it going? This is just a quick one, and I thought I'd call it the destruction of the intellect because it sounds quite racy. Ooh, the destruction of the intellect. What does that mean? Means fuck all, really. Well, over the last few weeks, I think I've touched on this in another video. Over the last couple of years, people have entered my life that I wondered why they entered my life, and this is kind of heating up, as it were. More people are kind of being presented to me or coming to me, and through a little bit of conversation, I realize, or they realize, that it's not an accident, it's not a coincidence that I have something for them. I have information for them, and usually they have something for me as well. So, information, not money, sadly, or a Lamborghini, or a house in the mountains in the island of Gran Canaria, or a Learjet, or interdimensional travel, or warm feet. So, where was I? Okay, so the destruction of the intellect. Of these people that are entering my life or being sent to me, I would have been told in my ceremonies that people would be sent to me. So, a common thread among these people, and what I see is, obviously we have a mix of people on the planet at very different stages of evolution. Young souls, new souls, old souls, middle souls, all the rest of it. I was told, I think maybe 3-ish years ago, by Charles Gillis, that I'm not an old soul. An old soul he described as, I think, someone who's around 2,500 lifetimes, and if I remember correctly, I think I'm around 1,700, something like that. So I've a bit to go yet. I'm just someone with a lot of shit to talk. That guy is an old soul. No, he's just full of shit. So anyway, so the common thread with a lot of these people that I see, and it's a reflection, a mirror of where I am at and where I am, the new kind of stage that I am entering, I suppose, over the last couple of years, is that the intellect is no longer really necessary. It's not as important. Now, we live in an information age, so we're immersed in fucking information. We have constant rolling news and phones and signals and radios, and I don't need to tell you all that. So all we're just being bombarded with information. Now, that's great, but not all of us need that. We are gods, and we have been here hundreds of times before, so we don't necessarily need all this information. The word educo is a Latin word that education comes from, and it means to draw out from within. It doesn't mean to imprint new information on. The information is already there, and we don't necessarily require information. We're entering a stage of experience. It's time to start to act. So if you put school as we remember it to the side, if you're in, say, university, or you're studying to be a carpenter in university, if that's its own thing, I don't think it is. At some point you have to pick up the wood and pick up the saw, and you've got to work with the little bit and get a feel for the tools, get a feel for what you're doing. We have to do that. We have to experience what we are and who we are, and the abilities we have and the tools we have. So the knowledge of, or information of, all the stuff, who did 9/11, who owns the banks, is it the lizards, is it the whatever, the Jesuits, the Jews, is it Donald Trump? The accumulation of all this information is just an accumulation of information. Doesn't do anything. Information doesn't on its own waken people up. It can when people are ready And if people are ready, it's great to feed that and nurture it, and to use, say, other like-minded people to have conversations, to open the mind further, to answer questions or be challenged and so on. So that's great. But there are some people who obviously process a lot of information and they write books, and that's their path. They're good at that. But that's not all of us. A lot of us need to act. And what seems to be holding back people, what I see, is the accumulation of information. We're getting lost in it. It doesn't fucking matter. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if the reptilians are running the world, or if it's Donald Trump's fucking children, or the aliens on the moon, or a set of fucking hungry dogs. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Like, I find all this stuff interesting. I look into it to a degree, less and less as time goes on. But it's still interesting. Like, post-Donald Trump election, I'm more interested than this than I have been for months, because I'm just interested to watch it all unfold and unravel and collapse. I'm taking joy in the swamp being refilled and repopulated rather than being drained. But there comes a point where the line has to be drawn, and we must realize that this doesn't fix us or cure us or fulfill us or enlighten us. It's just information. So, in a sense, it is on par with watching X Factor or live sports or, the Donald Trump Hillary Clinton campaign. It's just a circus. It's entertaining. And we seek different types of entertainment. Now, here's the rub, is that really the reason people are coming to me or being sent to me is, and I say that because they don't necessarily consciously decide, I'm going to go and see him and he's going to tell me something. It's sometimes we've sat down at a conversation, and there was one woman I sat and I asked, why are you here? Why? And she, with a blank face, told me, because I felt you had a message for me for a week. It kept coming to her, so eventually she made contact, and we hadn't met before. So what I am being told to pass on to them is a number of things, but one of them is, and the common thread is, overactive intellectualization. Stop it. Turn it off. It doesn't fucking matter. And when I discuss some of these subjects with some of these people, they might come back at me with a barrage of information and philosophy and theory. It doesn't fucking matter. I don't really pay much attention to it. It doesn't matter. Stop. Observe. Be still. And the ego doesn't like that. The ego wants fucking information because I can dissect that and control it and spit it out at people, and I feel like I know what's going in the world. Whereas if I don't have the information, I don't know what the fuck I am. I don't know where I am, and I don't know what's happening in the world. And that's exactly where a number of us now are being pushed, and we need to be. We need to not know, because in the not knowing comes experience and realizations and new information that we're not digging up and we're not looking for some sort of interesting distraction. That's kind of it. That's it. It's just to be aware of the overactive intellect. For some of these people, they're now facing a time where they're being pushed away from this solid foundation that they've used for most of their lives, the intellect, because the spirit's not about the intellect. The spirit couldn't give a fuck about the intellect. It's about spirit. It's about stuff that I don't even know. It's about stuff that words cannot contain or describe, or words are useless. It's about going into the unknown. So I'm not suggesting to people, let go of your intellect, stop reading books and just fucking do nothing. Not for a second. I'm suggesting to slow it down and to set aside time to not do the intellect, to set aside time for the stillness and the meditation and the observation and see what comes of it. And in some matters of discussion or debate, to consider that it's not going to be information based. And this is a challenge for me as well, to step back and go, because my brain, my ego has all the answers. He knows everything. He's fucking fascinating. He knows everything. But my life fell apart. So, of all the wonderful theories and ideas and information he's retained, it was fucking useless. So, well, it wasn't useless, but it only goes so far. So, there does come a point where to kind of pat him on the head, put him to the side, and go, okay, we're going to just see what else might unfold here and what might arise out of that stillness. So, just to be aware that as smart and intelligent and well read as some people listening to this are, perhaps all, that's only a degree. That's a facet of what you are, what we all are. That's limiting, and we can build on that and think that that's me. I did, the books I read and all the information I retained. I thought that's the more shit that I have in my mind, the more I am. It's just one area, and there are other areas that are far fucking more powerful and greater and unbounded and unexplored, magical, that now in these times require attention, and they're knocking on the door and they're looking for attention. And that may be why we feel frustrated and struggling and fucking unhappy, and why people are annoying us and fucking irritating us. It's because something else is trying to say, fucking, I want attention. Give me attention. Hello, hello. It's the screaming child, like, fucking look at me, give me attention. And we just keep going, why do these fucking idiots keep annoying me? Why does this keep happening? We need to be still, sit down and go, okay, what's happening? And look, not think I'm having a spiritual experience and this is amazing because the reptilians are running the planet. Just be still and observe. See what happens. That's it. Thank you. Please subscribe. Hope it was of use. Please share. I do a newsletter as well whenever there's a video out or an article out, and there's a bit more personal detail in that of what I'm doing, or ceremonies or retreats or what's going on with me that I don't really put in the videos, so you might get something from that. And that's it. Give it a thumbs up, share it around. Thanks for listening. Bye.